Hello and welcome to Dead Reckoning, the new mini-series that we're doing for the Dungeons & Dragons channel, which we are now currently on. Ooh. We're the High Rollers crew. I am your Dungeon Master, Mark Sherlock Humes, and joining me we have Chris Trott.
Hello.
Katie Morrison.
Hello.
Tom Hazel.
Hello.
2 L's.
Very important.
And Kim Richards joining us as the spooky grandma.
Grandma?
Spooky mum. She's kind of grandma-ish. Like getting to grandma aesthetic.
She's weathered.
Yeah, weathered.
She's had a hard life.
She has had a hard life. Welcome to Dead Reckoning. This is our mini-series that we're doing, which sort of serves as my version of a prequel to the Tomb of Annihilation, which is the brand new module out from Wizards of the Coast right now, which you can go and check out. And there's lots of spooky fun. We did a mini-series called Uncharted Territory, which was a lot of fun, where we plumbed our way through that. But now, things take a darker turn, as our anti-heroes are in the city of Thay.
I think pure hero.
No, definitely not pure hero.
Take a load of slaves.
Did you
meant to do it as well?
yeah, for sure.
We, as a
Unit. Group.
Yeah.
Team.
If you've not checked any of our stuff before, you can check it out. High Rollers is a weekly stream we do over on the Yogscast Twitch, which you can check out. Or you can watch it over on the YouTube channel Yogs Live.
Mm-hmm. And all of these are obviously on the Wizards of the Coast YouTube channel.
And as available as VODs as well. So you can check
straight away after this. If you missed it, then boom.
And we're probably in chat right now talking to all of you.
Hey, me.
It's pre-recorded, but it is unedited. Last thing before we get started, don't forget you can check out loads of awesome D&D content here on twitch.tv/D&D. All throughout the week, there's a big list of schedule with loads of stuff going on. You've got DCA, you've got One Grung Above, you've got loads of new series, Maze Arcana, Misclicks, there's loads of new series going on, Girl Scouts Glory.
And obviously
there's a new Sirens one. Greg Tito and Shelley and Bart all doing all the talk shows and stuff like that. So there's loads of great stuff, so please make sure you follow the D&D Twitch channel and you check out all of their other streams as well.
If you're already here, then you're already doing, half the work.
Just make sure you follow.
You can also follow us and see what we're up to at High Rollers D&D on Twitter. So if you want to find out when we're doing our regular streams or when we're doing anything else, then you can find us there.
Okay, it's been a couple of episodes now. Do you guys want to give just a quick one sentence of who you're playing, just to refresh or any people that are somewhat new?
I am Taryn Newgard, the most lawful good of the party. I'm a nice guy. I died and I came back. I'm a zealot. I love my god of Tempest and the glory of battle. And I've got Grim, which is a strange weapon that I woke up from my death with. Yeah. And it screams when it draws blood. And
you are a paladin, but you're Oath of Conquest, which is coming out in Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Yeah. Synced up there. And just to point it out, he is not
Grief, sorry, not
Grief. He is not a paladin in the traditional sense. I saw quite a few people in chat saying, like, this isn't very paladin-y of him. It's like...
Neither's an Oathbreaker.
Well, exactly. This is not your traditional lawful good paladin, so... Done. Katie.
I am playing Malice. She is a half-drow Way of the Long Death monk. She fights with sort of fan weapons that have blades in them. Yeah, she died in the Underdark, was brought back to life and hasn't since left, betraying the house that she used to serve, and is now dying from this death curse.
And somewhat important to your current location, she was pretty much a slave beforehand and was killed by her master in a fit of rage.
So the whole slavery thing in Thay doesn't really quite sit well with her.
Touchy point.
Touchy point.
Tom Hazel.
Oh, thank you, man.
Who are you playing?
Apples and pears. I am Tolshank Orborn, a mastermind rogue, deep gnome, criminal mastermind rogue, deep gnome mastermind.
Say all the words.
Just like
keep silver
tongue. Just keep like flipping them around.
Very, very high stealth. Very good expertise. He's got uncanny dodge, which I've written at the bottom of my character sheet.
You used it on screen too. You used it a couple of times.
So yeah, he's got some Smurf Neblin magic, Smurf Goblin.
Snurf Neblin.
Smurf Goblin.
Smurf Neblin.
Yeah.
Smurf Neblin.
And he's just a bit of a bastard, really.
Yeah. And he had he's made some enemies. He's got some old partners that he kind of screwed over a job for.
He did a heist for Duke Zalair's magnificent cloak, and they killed him for it. That was York.
That cloak has fucked us up.
That cloak is magnificent. So you can say anything else.
It's so warm.
It's so snug.
Kim Richards, tell the lovely people at home who you're playing.
Here comes the joke.
Can we prepare the drum roll and
Yeah.
I am worthless.
But who's your character?
My character's name is Worthless. It's not actually her original name, but I don't know if we'll ever get to the point where her real name is found out.
I think actually I remember her real name.
She 4 pages of character background.
I've read a lot of that. I just don't remember hers, but I remember like lots of other names.
Got it written there.
Yeah, good.
She is a fallen Aasimar.
Nailed it.
Which is basically a kind of, I guess, celestial messenger who's kind of, well, she's fallen because she's sort of turned her back on her faith, which was
Old lady had a fall.
Lathander.
He started before we
Because she started questioning Lathander's message and kind of, had a bit of a god crisis. And she also kind of maybe fell in love with someone from a necrotic cult. And had a child with them who is currently missing. She was executed for, sleeping with the enemy.
That's fair enough.
And she's gone crazy because she can't find her child.
And you are playing a blood hunter. Yes, which is a DM's Guild class, Matthew Mercer, and you are the Ghost Slayer. Yeah, so
Nice. There you go.
Darkness!
Fallen Aasimar Blood Hunter.
And each of these-
the most edgelord of all possible combinations.
It's a shame that I'm wearing my really cute pink and sushi
No, it's nice. It
cat
adds
tops today.
What's it? What do they call it? Just juxtaposition.
Yeah,
of
I did
character
buy a
to
load of
clothes.
gothy
Your
stuff
eyes and
recently.
believe.
So,
Skilly bimp.
with that done, a brief recap.
That's the full death curse, right?
Mainly for your benefit and my benefit, rather than the audience's, because to them this is just the
Carry
week
on.
after. Just carry on. So you had all been charged by a Harper agent called Halloway, who had basically made you an offer that he would help you with your individual problems if you would do a job for the Harpers. And that job was to travel to the Kingdom of Fae, far across the Forgotten Realms, across on the other side of Toril, and discover if they were responsible or had information relating to something called the Death Curse, which all 4 of you are suffering from. This is some sort of curse which is basically causing people that have died and been brought back to life to slowly begin decaying, but is also preventing new people from being resurrected, and this is how it all ties into Tomb of Annihilation. And you had been sent to this kingdom to discover if they knew anything about it, if they're responsible, and basically try and report back. You were sent aboard an airship to Thay, where you had to basically do a halo jump, fantasy style, with Qual's featherfall tokens out of the ship.
Not quite as cool though, we were all panicking.
You were all
I wasn't.
panicking,
Apart from
Worthless, who was giggling.
loving
And
it.
then when you landed, you literally landed in water, had a folding out boat, you climbed aboard, and started making your way to shore, where you were attacked by some Sahorgan.
Yeah, strange that. I wonder why.
Sorry, I was just really distracted then. Kim was pushing my
dropped
character
all
sheet
your
off my...
Hasn't. You dropped him, clumsy.
So Hogan,
You fought some Sahorgan who were attacking you and seemed very incensed by a certain cloak that a gnome was wearing. But you made your way to shore. You then began making your way to the city. En route, you attempted to stay at a landowner's manor, where Tholshank promptly attacked him. No, I'm going to call you Tholshank whenever I refer to that incident.
it's better than Torshank, at least, I suppose.
Torshank. You assaulted this landowner and then invaded his home and threatened his family.
I threatened.
Yeah.
Well, I necrotic shrouded.
You and Taryn, I think, together kind of threatened.
It was a
I
team
don't think
effort.
I did.
I think yours was a very much
I
sort of
think
like,
I was-
do we want to do this? I will kill you all, but I'm
I
willing
was
to
trying to
walk away.
get out of the situation they created.
In a very aggressive
I
manner,
was
yes.
blessing the house.
Oh, blessing the house.
I said
necrotic
blessings
trap.
be upon this house, and,
And
just,
then spooked everyone.
people, racist.
Malice let some slaves free from this landowner's house, and you basically made your way with the agreement that you weren't going to cause any more trouble, and you headed off. But where Taryn and Malice then promptly rode down one of the scouts that had sent ahead to warn the city about this group that were coming along, and brutally beat him up. I did tell you this was a very villainous campaign. And then you entered the city of Byzantur, a port city, the main port city of Thay itself. Byzantur has already proven to be quite the location. It is a city rife with slavery, with corruption. The guards are pretty much allowed to do what they want as long as they don't hassle anybody of any importance. There are no laws. Well, there are, but they only apply if you're more important than the other person. And generally, it's not a nice place to be. Undead are used as guards and work and do manual labor. There are gnolls, there are centaurs, and there are the famous Red Wizards of Thay. You met up with a mercenary company called the Bloody Banner, led by somebody called William Ban.
William Barn, yes.
William Barn, who gave you some information about the city and pointed you in certain directions on where you can kind of begin to make a name for yourself and start to gather some leads from.
We also met the barkeep Tombs.
You met, Tombs, who is a very lovable little undead white.
Reminds me of Fallout.
He's very ghoulish. He is very ghoul, smooth skin style. Smooth skin.
Yeah.
He's very much like that. But you then began making your way around the city. You were headed to somewhere called the Guild of Foreign Affairs, where you were waylaid. You were distracted by a slave trader who was offering a pair of diseased slaves for cheap. You decided to buy. Well, Taryn bought both of them and then went to cure their disease. Where unfortunately Worthless, who felt that one of the slaves, a young woman, was basically had given up on life and so decided to end her pain, which unfortunately upset Malice, who had been killed in a very similar manner. And so the party was temporarily split. Taryn, Malice, and Torshank went to the Guild of Foreign Affairs and learned about... I'm going to just pronounce it wrong every time.
Okay.
Where you were basically told by the head of the guild there of a number of opportunities. Basically, you were given a number of potential jobs and your kind of pick of the choice. Worthless attempted to enter the inner city, but was rebuffed by the Red Wizards, who were very unkind and very mean, because that's what they're like. They have no respect for anybody that isn't a Red Wizard. Where she was basically turned away, and so she has been trying to track down a necromancer guard called Weston. And that is pretty much everything that happened in the first few episodes.
We went to the guard, the noble. We're
yes,
in the inner
you
city.
chose eventually
We
to...
chose the vampire's vampire, right?
No.
Vampire
is the head of the military. He's basically like the general
the one
of the
I'm
city.
trying to find.
Oh, we picked the noble
Yes,
guy.
there was a noble who was looking for bodyguards.
The noble.
Okay.
Who is the cousin? Apparently, that said he's the cousin of the
ruler of the city, the Tharkiones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Matthias, that's the vampire.
Yeah. Matthias Frostwind is the general, basically.
And also Taryn is about to start a fight with...
And well, that was the very last thing that happened was, as you made your way into the inner city, you past a lot of temples, and Taryn sought out the temple to Tempus, his god, where he met a priestess in clad in black armor with a heavy shield and flail, and basically promptly issued a challenge. A challenge was issued.
And I, of course, accepted.
Of course, accepted. So, with that beginning, would you like to roll initiative?
Sure.
Control.
Wow.
Malice is like standing at the edge of where the temple starts, and she's not stepping in it. She's just like watching from.
So the two of you who are outside, the first thing you notice is the temple itself seems to be a fairly small-looking building. It's kind of got like this open sort of sand pit fighting kind of area in the middle. That it has, maybe a couple of buildings around it and some walls, but it doesn't seem particularly large, but it does seem to have a lot of people around it, and you can now see that the battle that's kind of taking place is attracting a crowd of folks.
Got grief out.
Yeah, you see the priestess, whose name you don't know yet. She basically has this enormous heavy flail in one hand and a big shield in the other, emblazoned with the flaming sword of Tempus. She pops down her visor on her helm, and you can see the face on her helm is kind of twisted into like an agonizing scream, and it just has these eyes slits kind of poking out, and she drops down into a defensive stance. What did you get in your initiative?
Got an 18.
Well, you have the upper hand. You strike with momentum.
I'm going to charge.
So you just charge
Smash.
straight at her.
Yep.
Okay.
So I'm going to do. Oh boy, what do I do? It's going to go for a straight up normal attack, I think, just to feel her out.
Okay.
See what her kind of combat's like.
Sure.
So, normal great sword attack. Natural 20.
So yeah, I mean it's a critical hit. Like that's gonna hit. So you roll weapon damage twice.
18 plus 4, 22.
22.
Slashing damage.
Okay, so she raises up the shield to block it, but you kind of anticipate, you go with a big overhead strike, she raises the shield, but then with unnatural agility, something that somebody with such a heavy weapon wouldn't normally be able to pull off, you kind of pull the blade back and then come in with a quick strike. Yeah, you basically bring in with a heavy feint, but it requires immense strength to be able to do this at speed. The blade comes in and strikes her deep across. You can see this heavy plate mail armor and basically knocks her to the side. You're pretty sure you probably broken several ribs as she kind of stumbles back with a heavy grunt.
I stab it into the ground. I'm like, do you wish to forfeit already?
So, and is that the end of your turn?
That's me.
Okay, so you just do the one strike
and I'm looking around and see who's watching.
She kind of takes a moment and you hear her kind of just be like, not even a word to Tempest yet, and she kind of mutters something and you can see the head of her flail bursts into flames and then she begins swinging the flail above her head and then comes in with 2 heavy blows. So that's going to be a 23.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get the old dices out.
I like how I'm doing a fight that's essentially not really
So that's
benefiting
gonna be,
anyone.
Yeah.
11. That's 14 as this heavy mace comes smashing into your side and the flame begins licking up at your body. You can hear kind of, bits of your cape beginning to kind of sizzle and burn. And then she comes in with a second strike. She's just like, Tempest does not allow for showboating. And she just begins smashing down. This is only going to be a 15.
Flame.
Yeah, that's only going to be a 15.
That does not hit.
So this one you actually manage to bring Grief up and you kind of parry away the kind of spinning flail.
I say less talking, more fighting.
Okay, what's your turn?
I will fight.
Jump in and do something outside of the fight?
Yeah, sure. What would you like to do?
Okay, I want to look at Manus and sort of clap my hands together and say, bloody hell, this is brilliant. We need to make a name for ourselves, and we've got 2 Tempest warriors fighting each other right now. I say we gather a crowd as big as we can. We spread the word of Taryn.
How big is the crowd at the moment?
There's maybe a few people. They're kind of peering in and watching.
Okay. If everybody knows this man's name.
I am going to laugh so hard if he loses right now. I kind of want him to
then
lose.
we're not with him.
Son of a bitch.
So I'm going to go around, I'm going to be yelling Taryn, Taryn and things like that. And
Okay, you're just trying to drum up a crowd and stuff like that.
Get as many people viewing.
Why don't you give me a... you can either make it a persuasion or performance check, whichever is higher for you. So you're either going around and going oh, check it out, oh, it's so great.
Yeah, I'll
they're
join.
both the same.
Well, if you were going to join, you have advantage.
Yeah.
What's
There you
her,
go.
Oh, I've got advantage.
what's her damage? Non-magical.
No, it was magical.
I got 17.
17? Yeah, you kind of go around and you're starting to drum up people and just the sounds of battle is drawing attention. The only thing is you do notice that a kind of group of black armored Thayan knights who seem to have been patrolling kind of swerve off and they're now making their way to the crowd and they're kind of looking at what's happening as well.
Okay.
And these look like quite elite-looking warriors, all clad in black plate, shields emblazoned with a skull, long swords, and they're kind of looking around the crowd. But you're drawing in quite a few Thayans. You can see them with their bald heads and their tattoos. A couple of them peering in, not red-robed wizards, just wearing sort of noble outfits. And they're kind of poking their heads in. Okay. There are there's a lot of families, and they just bring their children over to watch. Yeah, it's fine. Horrible violence, it's not a problem in Thay. So they watch that. So, Taryn, unless you want to do something, Malice.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I think I'll just...
Helping
him, just occasionally going around and like leaning against a wall with like just the fan out and being like, "Oh, it's really impressive, isn't it?"
Okay.
And
Yeah.
really, she's in her head going.
There's a few of the Thayans kind of like look at you curiously, but they're just like, "Oh yes," and they're just idle conversation going on. Taryn.
Will we have leveled up, by the way?
Not yet. You've not really done too much, but maybe if you do more things.
Alright, I'm gonna whirl around Grief. Well, just one big swing
Yep.
and then just smash into her.
Okay.
However, I'm going to add a Divine Smite to
Okay,
that.
well you can do that when you hit.
Yep.
So it's on hit, so you can choose
That's
not to
gonna
spend it.
It's
if
gonna
you
happen
want.
now.
Okay,
16 plus 7.
so it's that 23.
Three.
She is actually going to, she dodges back and then brings her shield in. She's going to use her parry reaction that she can do to increase her AC to 24, which just blocks the strike away.
Suck it.
Nice. That's it.
You know you have extra attack, right?
Do I?
Oh my god!
Jesus Christ. Yes, you as a paladin of 6th level, you
I
can
was
make 2
wondering
melee
why you
attacks.
didn't use it.
18.
18 is not enough, sadly, the second blow. This one, she doesn't deliberately parry it, but this one just hits against this thick black metal armor that she's wearing, and she just is like, is that enough? Do you wish to give up already?
Give up.
Repeating what you said earlier.
In the Temple of Tempest? Never.
Tempest Temple.
She will, she's going to attempt to bash you with a shield to start with. That's a natural 20.
I think that'll hit.
It's not a lot of damage, but you're
Let's
going to need to give me a
music.
strength saving throw, please.
10.
Cool battle music.
10. So you take 7 points of damage, which is non-magical.
Okay.
Do you have resistance to
Yeah,
non-magical?
-3.
Oh, okay, because you've
So I've
got...
got great armor master.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. So yeah, you take 3 off that, so
Heavy
you take
armor
4.
master.
So you take 4 damage, but then you are knocked prone. So she kind of slams you onto your back, and then with the second attack, she just brings the heavy flail down.
Oh boy.
So she has advantage because you're prone.
Of course she does.
So that's going to be 18.
I've got an AC of 18.
So it just hits. So this blow, the flail, you kind of roll to the side, but it just catches you on the shoulder.
Owie.
That's not a lot. That's going to be 6. That's going to be 9 points of magical damage.
Okay.
As this mace kind of just slams into your shoulder. You can hear like a big roar from the crowd as like she knocks him down, and then this big flail comes smashing down onto her.
Are they? Do they seem to be siding either way?
No, they're just enjoying the spectacle.
Okay. Can I just yell? All right, everyone, who wants to place their bets? We got Taryn, the Lightbane New Guard. There we go. And the measly other one. Who do you want to win? And then get everyone to like try and get everyone betting.
Try and get
on
everyone
who to win.
betting and stuff like that.
I have an aura
I was wondering what that smell was.
of protection. While unconscious allies within range can add my charisma mod to saves. So if you do any saves, my charisma modifier is added. As long as you're within 10 feet.
A few people are just like, ha, Lady Dana will best him, I'll take that bet, and a few of them kind of come up and they start placing bets. What odds are you offering?
Oh, it's 14 to 1 on the one you said.
Lady Dana?
And easily like a 3 to 2 on Taryn. Way better.
I mean, yeah, they'll bet like 10 gold.
Thank you.
You get like a couple of bets on Lady Dana for 10 gold. A few of them are still watching the fight, and they're just kind of trying to suss out how it's going to go.
How's it looking right now? I've dented her armor a little bit.
You did 22, didn't you?
She's hurt me to half.
Oh.
It's actually sort of evenish at the moment. Like, she's kind of like, she's being much more cautious now after that first heavy blow that's obviously winded her. She's being a lot more cautious, but at the same time, she's probably more of a skilled opponent than you were expecting. So she'll go, oh, fuck.
I got that 20, didn't I? At some point.
Yeah,
yeah.
very first hit.
I
First roll.
keep forgetting. I've got Great Weapon Master.
What's that?
That is a 10 on my first attack.
Okay, yeah, that misses. I don't see why the crit would affect Great Weapon Master.
Does it add extra damage or anything? No?
If I score a critical hit or reduce the creature to 0 with melee, I may make one weapon attack as a bonus action.
So you could have made a...
But you didn't even make 2.
You didn't even make his normal attacks. I like to think it was Taryn showing off.
Yeah, you just grandstanded.
Because he put his blade in the ground, he was like,
13.
It's so good. No. Again, her armor is just like boom, boom,
It's me trying to get up.
She's
from prone.
well, you did.
Swinging
I'm
around.
taking you then spend your movement to stand up from prone. So you kind of gets up, and you're like swinging around. She kind of semicircles around behind you, and now she's kind of feeling a bit more confident with the armor. So she's just gonna barrel in 2 attacks.
Nope.
9, first one just misses. You kind of parry it to the side. The second one is an 11. There's a lot of like clash of steel as the two seem to be fairly evenly matched. You get a few people
not hitting.
a few people kind of just like, I'll bet on Taryn. Lower the odds. Lower the odds.
All right, fair enough. Well, I mean, all right, fine. We'll go 14 to 1. First one. Well, I can't remember her name already. 14 to 1. Taryn. Yeah?
Okay, yeah. you get a few people like taking it and stuff like that.
Can I just nudge Ulfric as well? The slate. Listen,
Oh yeah, I forgot.
do you know how to shoot
He's
a
just
crossbow?
been like stood there.
Do you know how to shoot a crossbow?
Yes.
If things go sour, I need you to run off, hide somewhere. This crossbow, it's meant for the other one, not Taryn.
No, I'm afraid I cannot, sir. I would be slaughtered if I were to hold a weapon.
He's your master, you need to save him.
But he like points at like all the Thayan guards. He's like, if I touch a weapon, they will kill me.
Alright.
What do
Fair enough.
the big armored dudes? Are they impressed or are they?
They are
just-
watching with just a very placid, examining what's going on. You kind of get the impression, you've seen this in big cities before, they don't like a big crowd gathering for any reason, so they've basically positioned themselves that if anything kicked off, they'd be ready to step in. But you can see they are also watching the fight, in the same way that they might be eyeing up a potential troublemaker and trying to see how dangerous he could be, but they're watching Taryn quite closely. Taryn.
Can I try and disarm her?
Sure. I would say you would need to make... I'm guessing you would want... How would you want to try and disarm her? Would you want to try and do it skillfully or just raw strength?
I would probably go in and try and grapple her arm and twist it behind her back.
So that would be a strength check, basically.
Straight strength. Is that cocked?
Yeah, I'd say that's cocked. This is why you shouldn't roll in the tiny tray.
But it's such a great tray you should get.
It is.
store.yourspells.com.
7. 15.
15 plus with just strength.
Oh wait,
just strength.
13. 11.
Why is
Sorry, I was doing the saving throw.
Yeah, so
11.
it's just 11. You
idea.
kind of tied with her, like you go in to grab her arm and you can feel that she's pretty strong underneath all this armor as well. And she's kind of like, what are you doing? And you're kind of now grappling, the two of you are kind of locked. She's kind of grabbing your arm, you're grabbing hers, and you're kind of in this kind of like current state of status quo. Do you want to try and do something else?
Let's see. Shall we?
I say, because if you've got extra attack, like that's almost like one attack, you stepping in and
Count as
grabbing
an
her
attack,
arm.
do you?
I'd say so, yeah. Like,
In which case, I'm going to use this vulnerability to attack and just swing grief onto her chest.
well, if you do that, you'd be breaking the hold. You'd be basically letting go and trying to attack with your
Can I
weapon.
commit my
You could
neck?
try and like throw her. You can try and knock her to the
I
ground or
might
something
just
like that.
kick her back and push her forward, like while I'm behind her. I've got
So
her
trying
arm
to set her
a
off her
bit.
feet, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just knock
Yeah.
her
So give
through.
me a strength check.
12.
Okay, so this time you go to like, you kind of put your boot on her chest, you kind of push her back. She stumbles a little bit, but she kind of stays on her feet. And the two of you are basically just left at an impasse. She kind of like looks at you and is just like, fine, you want to play things this way? Very well. And she's going to run in and she's going to try and shoulder barge you and knock you to the ground. So it's going to be a strength check from you.
Okay.
Can you? Yeah.
9.
9. This time she manages to kind of get the upper hand, and this shoulder barge sends you flying back and knocks you prone. She then just leaps on top of you and is trying to wrest grief away from your hands. So give me another strength check.
Natural 20.
Right, so this time, as soon as she reaches for the blade, you're not having any of this, and you flip her over, so you're now like both of you are wrestling, and you're kind of rolling around in the sand.
Is there any mud?
Well, there's no mud. It's all like a heavy sand, and it's kind of getting through the armor. The two of you are just like the armor is clanging against each other. Occasionally, like part of her armor will scrape your face. Your like armored gauntlet might
sparks
push
are
through.
flying.
It's kind of it's there's a lot of heavy grunting going on as the two of you are wrestling around.
I'm kind of ashamed that I laughed there.
Blind/deafen.
Yes.
It says I need verbal to do that. So what would I actually be saying, and would it be really obvious?
It would be some sort of like spell, like
it's
kind
part
of
of my
muttering.
Svirfneblin magic. So
Spells still have like you basically to cast a spell, even if it's an innate racial one, you normally do a gesture and speak a few magic words.
okay. So I wouldn't be saying blind deafen. I'd be saying
You'd be like other blah 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 in Svirfneblin language or something like that. You can also, I'd say you can try and do like sleight of hand checks so that nobody notices the hand gestures and things like that. Because normally it's like fireball, that sort of thing.
Okay.
You'd have to do it stealthily.
Yeah, I'd like to try and cast blind/deafen on the person Taryn's fighting.
Okay, what range is blind deafen?
I don't actually know. I've got it.
Thank you, Kim.
They have to take a con save. I know that much.
Okay. Well, let's check. Make sure you've got the range. I'm imagining it's something like 30 to 60 feet. Also, I don't think Taryn's going to be very happy if he finds out you've interfered.
I don't think he'll necessarily.
He'll know,
In the midst
yeah.
of combat, I don't think
He
he'll.
might not.
If
You
she
might
suddenly
have-
shouts, I'm blind and deaf.
He chooses one. He chooses blindness or
Oh,
deafness.
Yeah. So I don't think you'll know it's necessarily
I don't-
Svirfneblin origins.
The
Stuff
red
with blind.
wizard's knife.
I can find it.
Sorry.
It's not going to be a spell, it'll be just a...
Blindness, deafness. Range 30 feet.
Nice.
I
guess I'm within.
It's actually just verbal, so you don't need to worry about the gestures.
Yeah.
You're basically just speaking words.
Blind her!
I mean, yeah, I will still make a perception check, especially for things like guards, to see if they notice
Can you
doing
speak
something.
it in, like, undercommon?
I mean,
I would like to.
it's even if he speaks it in another language, magical spell casting is it's
Detected.
not just speaking. It is like
It creates...
it's it's an incantation.
Gotcha.
That's the reason that verbal and somatic components exist.
I would like to, while I'm taking everyone's bets, bumble a few of my words. So I was like, oh, thank you for your blah 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 bet.
Okay.
About halfway through,
So
I'll then do.
you're gonna do a deception check to see how well you pull that off.
Could you just act this out for us?
He just did.
16.
16.
Oh, thank you for your bet.
I would like to bet 10
Okay.
gold on the shiny man.
And then what? I make a Constitution saving throw.
Yeah.
What's your spell save DC for your
It says
Svirfneblin
on my
magic?
intelligence, so.
So it's 8 plus your proficiency bonus, which is 3,
That's your
3
intelligence.
plus your intelligence modifier.
Your roll.
0.
So 11.
11.
Oh god.
Oh, it's fine. She's got a bonus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So you're like, oh, thank you for blah, 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 I mean, bet, or whatever. And you see her kind of like shaking her head, like, and like looks around, and you're wrestling with her, so she knows you've not done anything. She's just like, and then you see 2 guards looking over at you. Malice, you also spot these guards, and they begin making their way over towards Stolshank. Taryn.
I'm going to try and...
I thought it was a good idea.
I'm on the floor. Am I on top?
You're kind of rolling
My
with each
power
other. You're kind of together on the sides at the moment.
Am I on the
Stop
bottom?
laughing, Kim.
No.
Kim needs to stop
You
laughing.
could let her gain the advantage and get on top of you if you wanted to pull something off.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, she flips you down and is like trying to grab
Like,
your arms.
And then I'm going to grab her shoulders and then both feet drop kick from the floor, push her off.
Okay, so just try and bring your knees up
Yeah.
and then poof,
And
push her
then
off.
use my extra attack to kind of leap on her with
Yeah,
grief
okay.
if I make this
Yeah,
first
yeah, yeah.
one. So it's
Yeah.
strength, yeah?
Yeah, do a strength check.
7 plus 3, 10.
Not enough. This time, yeah, you manage to get both feet underneath her. Poof, you push her off. She's now prone, about
I'll
5-10
leap.
feet away from you. So you snatch
Classic
grief up.
vertical arc with grief.
Yeah, like,
There's no wailing
Advantage?
yet, right? There's no blood.
no blood yet.
Advantage.
Advantage because she's prone.
That's a 9.
Stop rolling in that tray.
5.
Katie's going to murder you, or I will.
14.
14 is not enough. She actually, her shield,
different dice.
she kind of pulls her shield up in front of her, and the blade kind of snaps to it.
In which case, I'm going to bonus action conjure a spiritual weapon
Okay, so you're going to cast spiritual weapon.
behind her.
Okay. Well, she's on the ground, but I'm guessing you
Like
that's
behind
next
her,
to
where
her
her
or
head
something
is.
like that. What does
And
it look like?
It's grief.
Okay, so you kind of like raise a gauntleted fist and a spiritual looking.
I imagine my
grief
aura is
appears.
not pure radiant. It's kind of like corrupted a little bit.
Oh god, yeah,
red
no,
essence.
Yeah. Flames. Tempest is all about like flaming
As
swords and
edgy
stuff.
as it gets.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Good. Can it attack on this turn?
Yes,
Or is
I believe
just
it can.
100? So that's 7
I told you
plus
you wouldn't use
my
No.
charisma, which is a 2.
Well, it's spell attack bonus, so it's proficiency bonus plus your charisma bonus.
Okay, 5 then. 12.
12. Just hits the armor, kind of glances off.
This is not going great.
She's just like,
How are you?
I got 1 hit in.
do you think she just basically yells, do you think the spells of Tempest himself would affect me? We are both, this is a test of our martial prowess.
It works as well as our weapons of Tempest. Idiot.
If you are as devout a follower as I, then Tempest would not wish to interfere in a battle between
You're
us.
annoying.
Okay.
Such an asshole.
She's just like, "Oh, fuck you. And then just brings her mace up. She's going to stand up from prone.
I imagine it's kind of like in Hot Fuzz when they're confronted by the priest and he's trying to appeal to his kind of, you know, sense of what's
purity.
right, wrong, and he just goes, "Oh, fuck off, grasshopper."
Fuck off, grasshopper. First attack she makes actually misses. I'm also rolling terribly with these
You
dice.
can't roll above a 10 today.
Neither can
It's
I as well. Like we've
ridiculous.
both like.
I got a nat 20 in that.
The two of us saying it, like you're basically just bashed. Yeah, the blows are just smashing against each other. Folshank, two of the guards approach you, and they're like, "You gnome, what are you doing?
I'm taking bets for the fight. Would you like in?
What did you do a second ago?
I think I took 10 gold from this
We
one.
know
here.
spell casting when we see it. What did you cast?
I cast nothing, sir.
Deception check.
Fucking hell! These rolls!
Deceive your way out of that one.
7.
One of them just reaches down, gauntleted hand, grips your arm. It's just like, we don't have a problem with spell casting unless you're committing a crime.
A crime? I don't see any crimes here. Unless.
Think
Is
you
gambling illegal here?
We know that you cast something. Do you think we're idiots? Do you think in a city ruled by mages, we don't know what a spell looks like when somebody casts one?
Whoa.
And they literally start picking you up and, you know, like lifting you off the ground.
I think you were mistaken. So, see, I've got this. What you might have seen was my, you know, I was taken a bed from this lady right here. It was 20 gold. I think that's what you saw.
You give me advantage for that, that's hilarious.
I'm gonna give him. Do you know what? It was like. There's no reason it would give him advantage, but it's hilarious. So I'm kind of tempted.
20.
Oh!
He like pulls you in close. He's just like, I better not see any more stuttering from you again, and just throws you on the ground.
I'm a best.
Nice
That was
retort.
amazing.
Under my breath.
He hears that and kills you.
Well, Taryn, please bring this to an end, one way or another.
Just gonna do a quick perception check, see if I hear that. I think I do, fuck. No, I ignore it. I'm too focused.
Okay.
I'm too
I
focused.
don't think Taryn
What's your
care.
perception bonus?
15 plus
Would Taryn care though if he's in a
16.
fight?
I think it's, yeah, you might have overheard a
pocket.
bit, but it's kind of.
Think about later.
I'm going to.
The two of you are basically now like both standing. You're both kind of a bit winded.
I'm going to try and trip her
Okay.
from behind with my spiritual weapon first and see if I can gain an
Spiritual weapon doesn't really have any physical
I'm
form.
going to attack her legs.
Okay, you can try and attack her legs to like
If
wind
it's a
her.
good roll.
Maybe.
Nope.
She just moves out of the way. She moves with like a soldier's mobility. Like now that she knows that she's kind of being threatened on two sides.
In which case I'll go straight in with grief at the same time. 14 plus 7.
Woo! He rolled above a 10.
21.
She's going to use her parry ability, which she can use once per round.
I get an extra attack.
You get an extra attack.
Do you want to use the
I've
tray?
given him loads of dice. He's not
He just
using
rolled
them.
a 20 from across the table.
I did. That's the second 20
Congratulations.
in a row with that
That means
dice.
fuck all for me. That's me.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I'm going to try and move. I guess I'm in opportunity attack range. So
Yeah, you're
I'll work.
basically, if you try and move away from her at this point. Right, the last one, she's just like, this is becoming tiresome.
I could fight all day.
She looks at you and she's just like, you might delude yourself with such matters, but you don't convince me. That is going to be a 22. She's going to Divine Strike. Divine Smite, rather.
Of course she is.
Look at your little face, troll.
Yeah.
So, that's going to be 9 plus
That's a 6.
18. That's going to be
He's gonna be dead.
21.
Wow, wow.
The flail comes striking round, and then this time you kind of go to deflect it the same way you
Boom,
had.
down.
She actually,
You actually unconscious?
being
Yeah.
a flail, the mace head wraps around Grief. She pulls it, yanking the blade from it, and then with a swift boot, she just kicks you right in the balls. And it kind of sends you stuttering, and then the second mace blow comes down and knocks you to the ground.
He's down.
Cheap. The whole crowd is like, yay! 4 people come over to Tholshank and are like, 140 gold, please.
How much did I actually gain, bet-wise?
Bet-wise, you would have gained. I'd basically say you have to pay 1 bet out, which is because you were offering 14 to 1 odds, 140 gold.
Alright, okay.
But you kind of take what the other people that bet on Taryn obviously pay you and stuff like that.
Okay, so do I lose or gain?
You lose 140 gold.
Oh, I see, okay.
I would like my money, young man. I bet on the lady.
You kind of look to Taryn, who's clearly down. She looks down, and she looks over at the crowd, just kind of chuckles. But you can see she kind of winces. She leans down, she lay on hands you for 15 hit points. And as she kind of does that, she kind of stands up and does offer a gauntleted hand.
Really? The balls?
Like, heaves you up. Tempest
Tempest will be proud.
Tempers matters only that we win victory, not really how we do it. I am Lady Dana. Your name?
Taryn, new god.
I'm gonna go over and just really slowly clap. Be like, can I have you instead of him as my friend?
This is a noble warrior. To be honest, she kind of winces. I think I wouldn't have been able to suffer one more of his blows either. It simply came down to a matter of timing.
Luck. Timing, yes.
Timing. Tempest is with you. You're quite a good fighter. If you wish to test your skills any further, there are many who come to the temple. There are certain events we host in the evenings below the earth where young fighters test themselves.
I would, however, I'm dying, so
Truly.
time is against me.
A disease? Can you not purge it from yourself?
I wish I could. It seems beyond even Tempest's capabilities.
You
Maybe it is
refer
my
to-
fate.
I've heard about this. Some sort of curse or plague or something.
Feel a bit shit, yeah.
Strange.
You can
company
keep her if you wish.
No. Who are you?
Doesn't matter.
All things matter in the eyes of the foe hammer.
We've been unfortunately put together against our will. We've been blackmailed to carry out a task for someone so that we may
And you
gain.
did not simply slay them the way you fought. I wouldn't have expected you to.
I kind of wish to live, and they offered a promise of fixing this curse.
They also told us that if we didn't do it, we'd probably end up dying by other means that they would inflict upon us.
Whoever this individual is, I do not like the sound of them. They sound like
They're not
one of
from
these.
Thay,
No, they sound
but they fit right in.
scrupulous. Well, obviously, the best course of action is for you to heal yourselves and then extort retribution against this individual that would threaten you so.
I'd love to.
Well, perhaps I can be of some assistance. If you do require anything, I would be happy to serve a brother of Tempest, especially one that fights as well as you.
Thank you. I appreciate the help.
If there is anything I can do. Unfortunately, I do not have much more healing to offer you today, but...
That's fine.
I'll replenish some more perhaps later if you need it.
I need to learn from the wounds I carry.
Good. Is there anything I can assist you with immediately?
No, I've got a slave for that, and I start clicking.
Ulrich comes up.
And I give him grief.
Can you not
He takes
do
it.
that? Please.
Hold it for a bit, Ulrich.
Of course.
Thank you.
Why don't you get in trouble for holding a weapon?
He's clearly not wielding it. He's just like holding it like this, following his master around.
Just being pedantic then.
You are being pedantic.
For you bros in chat.
I mean, yeah. She's just like, well, if you have no...
I may seek your assistance in the future, but right now we currently have a job.
Very well.
In the inner city.
Of course.
Have you heard of Malice?
Dolran Malak.
Dolran Malak. I have heard of an individual. He is a worshipper of Lovatar.
Yes.
One that I am not... Lovatar is an interesting goddess. Tempest is not necessarily against her, but I find her worshippers perhaps a little distasteful. She cares not for battle. Her worshippers enjoy inflicting pain, but not in battle. They indulge in torture and self-flagellation. To me, that is pathetic. They should, if they wish pain, they should seek it in battle, not in the comforts of some plush palace or some torture chamber.
We're not seeking him out to...
Get tortured.
Yes, we are seeking him out to make connections in the city.
Well, in that case, he is quite well connected. He is family with the Tharkioness, and he does know several of the other nobility and autarchs within the city. I have not seen him much. I've heard that he has had trouble finding guards, so he has been remaining in his property.
It makes you question why he struggles to find guards.
Where is his
There are many political endeavours within Thay. It is almost certainly connected to one such as them.
Can I just take a second to shout, Tall Shank, come over?
Yeah. Sorry, is Dolran Malak the guy that we would...
Yeah, he's the
Okay.
guy we're guarding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your name, sorry, I'm a bit concussed from the ball strike. That's where my brain is.
Clearly you are one that thinks with such matters. I am Lady Dana Valisa, priestess of Tempest, obviously.
Dana.
A fine blade you wield as well.
I fear it is not mine, truly. I woke up with it.
Spoils from a battle, perhaps?
Potentially.
Then you have as much right to claim it as whoever lost it.
Of course, that's why I've got it.
Good.
Fine.
I see that you obviously have pressing matters, but
Can you direct us to this noble's house, perhaps, within the inner city?
I'm not exactly certain of his exact location, and she kind of claps her hands, and a few slaves, because it's they, emerge out along with another armoured-looking figure, and she's just like, my priest in training will be able to likely take you. The slaves know many things about the city. He will be able to guide you there if you wish.
Great. Perfect.
Slaves, great. Wonderful. Love
Right,
that.
with that, worthless.
Yo!
So,
Cut to other
you
side.
were basically biding time, waiting for this western to appear. In that, you're spending time in the outer city. You see very much the kind of things that make Byzanta what it is. You see slave wagons and slave trains come and go. There are crafters who generally look miserable. There's a few merchants and things, but the outer city is generally pretty mirthless and miserable. And you are approached. I'm guessing you've been sat somewhere.
Yeah, I think
biding
after
time.
my little shopping spree, buying toys for Malice and looking for rats for Weston, I'm just going to kind of like hole up somewhere, like just kind of, draw my robes around me and kind of just sit in the shadows watching and worrying to myself.
So you
Nice.
are
Nice and crazy.
approached, in fact.
Just Kim's average Friday night.
You're kind of in a little alleyway. looking out onto one of the sort of like main thoroughfares when a woman, robed as well, with a hood up, you can't see much beneath the robes apart from she has golden hair, kind of almost golden in appearance, but it's clearly like just a blonde, but it has this kind of almost metallic hue to it, and you can just see a little bit of it tucking out from under her hood. And she approaches, just like, "Oh, why looking quite sad there, old woman? Are you all right?"
I'm just gonna keep muttering to myself, like, just kind of slaves, all the slaves.
Oh, yes. It's a terrible place, Byzantia, full of so much suffering. The living, they just don't understand, really. If only things could be so much easier. And she's just like, "Are you all right? You seem quite distressed. Is there something that this woman can help you with?"
Friends gone, stupid friends. Just kind of muttering.
Yeah, she's just like, "Oh dear," and she kind of comes up and sits next to you, and she's very quiet and very sort of soft, and she kind of reaches into a bag and she pulls out like some sort of jerky and she starts eating it, and she's just like, "Yes, Byzantia can be quite the dangerous place if you don't have allies. It's a terrible place, really. It's a shame. If you need help finding anyone, there are people that can help you with that."
So I'm going to keep up the kind of muttering and the sort of like acting a bit crazy, but like look at her with kind of, try and suss her out like suspiciously, like kind of.
So you can see beneath the robe, and as you kind of peer at her, she kind of actually meets your gaze, almost expecting you to look at her a bit more. And you can see a pair of golden irises, eyes, and elven ears. And she's a sun elf, type of elf in Faerun. But you can see that her skin is very deathly pale. You can almost see like some of the veins around like her neck and things like coming up into her face. But she's got like this golden auburn hair. And she smiles quite pleasantly, and she's got makeup. You can see like her lips have been painted a little bit, and she has eyeshadow. She doesn't look like a slave, or she doesn't look poor. She looks quite well mannered and well dressed, and she just smiles at you, and she's just like, "It's such a shame. It's sad that people can leave an old woman on her own in the city. Did you come here with others?"
Would I, from looking at the veins and stuff, would I know that may be a death curse or something?
You don't show any signs of that. You and your allies haven't been showing any signs of that. It's certainly not healthy. There's definitely a touch of something odd about her. There's
I can definitely tell it's not an elf thing. It's
something
thing.
else. I mean, you're not even sure if it's an illness thing. You're not really sure. Like, she's just extremely pale.
Okay.
But it's daylight. You're like, she's not a vampire. So
I'm just gonna kind of like, because I think she can sort of see through me. I'm not gonna drop the act, but just be like, "Pretty lady asks a lot of questions."
Oh, this is a town with a lot of answers if you ask the right questions. For old folks such as yourself, elders do have lots of knowledge after all, don't you? I'm sure you've gone through a few things in your hard life.
I'm just gonna start cackling to myself.
She's just like, she just laughs with you.
If only you knew.
Oh, perhaps I might know a little bit more than you might expect. I do know that you arrived here with some companions you don't seem to be with anymore, which is a shame. I was going to try and reach out to the group of you. I thought that you might be able to help me with something, and I might be able to help you.
Who are you?
My name is Valance. I serve somebody that I think you would be interested in. You strike me as a woman who has suffered a lot of loss, but you're not weak like many others. You've not been cowed by loss. It's made you stronger. You've come to understand that death is just the beginning of something new, right?
I'm like so suspicious right now because everyone's normally a dick to me. Doesn't get me.
She just smiles.
I'm just going to be kind of almost like a little bit lost, like because this is the first time in ages anyone's actually kind of, I don't know, seen right through me. Yeah, and I'm just going to be like...
She like peers at you a bit more and she's like, "You're not looking very well, dear. Are you feeling all right?"
You tell me, you seem to know.
You're suffering, aren't you? You've woken up, you throw up, with black bile rising in your stomach. It's something that I'm interested in.
Such a dark, dark power to be interested in.
It's a power that myself and the person who saved me are interested in finding out who's responsible for.
Are you dead too?
No. Although, I perhaps see death in a different way to many others. Something I think you and I have in common. Now, I want to make sure I get this correct and I don't offend. What should I call you?
I am worthless.
Very well, worthless. I am Valance, and I serve somebody who's very interested in helping you and your companions.
No one's ever been interested in helping me.
That's because you've not perhaps looked towards the right people. And she kind of like pulls back her hood, and you can now see this kind of long ears of an elf, this golden auburn hair, these golden eyes. But yeah, just very, very pale. And you can see beneath the robe she's got a choker, like a thick black choker with a skull, like a skull emblem on it. It's not the symbol of Velsharoon though, it's slightly different. And she kind of smiles and it's just like, let's put aside all of the mysteriousness for a time. I can get you in the inner city and I can reunite you with those that came with you because I wish to speak with them as well.
Who is your master?
Can I trust you, worthless?
Just a crazy old lady? Who would believe me anyway? They all think I'm a fool.
It's less that I don't want to upset you. I work for a god. Well,
Gods are false.
somebody who is as powerful as a god but is not a god. Somebody who has power over death but controls many greater forces as well.
And
You can make a religion check to see if you know.
I feel like Worthless is actually just finishing the story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Got the
16. If it's not a god, there are lots of other beings that have incredible powers that could be kind of tied to it. Things such as liches, but also demon princes, archdevils. There are powerful creatures from beyond the stars, known as the Great Old Ones, that might be such as powerful. The Archfey as well. There are a lot of beings which could be considered gods but aren't gods, and that seems to be the kind of impression she's kind of giving. I'll gladly tell you more once I am a bit more certain that you and your allies won't react too badly. But for the now, I come offering a helpful hand. I can get you to the inner city, and also I can give you a warning. I wouldn't trust the Red Wizards. They're up to something. That's why I'm here.
don't trust many people. I trusted people once.
That's a very wise way to be. Better to trust the dead, because at least you know that they're not up to games.
I just kind of let out a cackle at that because, you know, I'm thinking of tunes and stuff like that. Just kind of, yeah. Okay. Can I just look, after I finish cackling my arse off, I'm just going to...
She just watches you. She doesn't laugh this time.
I'm just going to look at her kind of like, just suddenly kind of stop and just look at her
Go
really
into
seriously.
lucid, worthless mode.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to reach out really slowly and kind of just stroke her hair and then kind of like stroke her chin and stuff like that and kind of move her face around. Like,
She just lets you. She just like lets you move it around.
I'm just going to kind of go. Worthless will go with you for now, dearie. Help an old lady to her feet.
She like helps you up, and she's just like, "We'll need to take a more clandestine route into the inner city. You've not made friends amongst the gate wizards."
Worthless has no friends.
Well, that's fine. Where we're going, we have no need for the living. And then she basically leads you off. And she leads you to what you thought was just an empty kind of looking alleyway. But you can see that there is some sort of drainage or like sewer system, which she opens up. And she's just like, "You're not going to be put off by a bit of smell for the time being, are you?"
You clearly have not smelt worthless.
We'll need to clear you up once we get into the inner city, however. You will stand out otherwise. and she leads you in, and she takes you by the hand. She leads you through sewers, which stink for a while, but very quickly you take a side exit into a very old-looking stone corridor, and you soon find yourself moving your way through catacombs and crypts, sarcophagi.
Oh, I feel so at home.
It's dusty, and there are parts of it which are flooded. And as she's going, this woman, Valance, explains, like, when the sundering occurred, part of the city sank, and many of these catacombs became flooded. The Red Wizards have given up on many of them, but if you know the right people and the right routes, you can use them to get around. Particularly useful for getting into the inner city. This leads to, and she's kind of talking absently as she goes.
Yeah, I'm just like,
and she just kind of brings you with her. And eventually she actually leads you up into a large open cavern, part of which is flooded. And you can see that there are some like fish, the Sahorgan creatures, like in a corner, like snarling. As she walks in, two of them rush up towards her. She just waves her hand and a wave of necrotic force erupts out and just turns them to ash. She's like, woof.
Very talented, my love.
Thank you. It is a gift, one that my employer gives me for the time being to help him carry out his services.
I would like to meet this person and talk with them.
Her eyes light up. She's like, I think you and him would get on very well. And he would certainly love such a capable individual in his services.
I think in her mind, Worthless is kind of like, sort of a bit shocked at how nice this person seems to be, because nobody's been nice to her for ages, but she's trying to
keep up the facade.
Yeah.
She offers out a hand and leads you along, things like that, and she's just smiling and very polite. She just leads you away. Eventually, she leads you up a set of stone stairs into what looks to be like an old bath, like an old public baths. And there is like a steaming hot water and things like that. And she gestures around. She's just like, now, I know that this won't please you, but we will need to get you a little bit cleaned up for the inner city. Otherwise, you might be mistaken for a slave, and we can't have that now, can we? Nobody comes down to this old bath. Many don't even know it still exists, but I've been making use of it for some time. Now, come on, and she kind of comes over and she helps you, like she's starting to take armor off and things like that. If you kind of protest, she's like, no.
I'm gonna kind of grumble, but kind of old person, like slap her hand.
Exactly, she's very much, almost like that kind of Karen mentality of like, she helps you.
I'm definitely playing up the old frail woman thing.
And she plays along.
Yeah.
Like she's like now, and she like eases you into the bath and washes hair and things like that.
Is this my pretty woman moment?
Well, she's just being very calm, and she's like talking but absently about nothing, just babbling in that kind of looking after an old person way, like totally going along with the act. And she just kind of gets you tidied up. She actually, when you look back, the armor that you had left quite in badly conditioned, there is just this kind of invisible force which is polishing it and like tidying it up. And she occasionally gestures, and she's just like, yes, now work on the helmet. And the armor like floats down, and then something moves over to the helm and picks it up and starts polishing it as well, and just kind of keeping it tidy. You can see that there's another creature kind of mending the dress that you had underneath, like all the holes and patches are being mended and kind of tidied up.
Stains.
Yeah, like literally like scrubbing out blood and things like that, and dirt and grime just in general. And then eventually she kind of gets you up, gets you dressed into the cleaner, nicer looking clothes, and leads you up into this beautiful city, which is such a stark comparison to the outer city you were in before. These kind of beautiful open plazas with stone, like carved, beautiful stone with gargoyles on the corners. You can see the people that walk around wear these beautiful silk and dark green robes with tattoos all over their heads and arms. They walk around happy as can be, just completely ignoring, the plights of like the outer cities and things like that.
I hate them.
And Valance is just like, right, let's go find the people you arrived with.
Just go to where the screaming is loudest, probably.
Oh no, I know where they're going. It's fine. I'm
not untrue.
She gestures to you like, no. They're currently seeking allies. I think I know where they're headed.
How do you know so much?
Well, I've made it my business to know. I have a few people in the city helping me learn certain things. We've all been sent here on a very important task, and I think you and your friends can be of great use to us.
Your mother must be very proud to have one so intelligent and beautiful.
She's just like, oh, sadly, my mother passed away a long time ago. Us elves lived for quite some time, you know. But luckily, I have a new figure in my life who looks after me. And she kind of leads you away.
I'm just going to be like stroking her hand. And,
Okay.
like, you know, just...
Come back to you three.
Being old.
The three of you arrive. The armoured priest, a young man, bald of head, looks to be like a young Thayan, doesn't really talk too much. He kind of grunts and answers in single words like yes, no, this way, but doesn't really engage you in too much conversation. Takes you a couple of streets away from the temple, leads you across a large open plaza, and then points you in the direction of a large manor house, gated iron fence around it, which looks out onto the port and the inner city port, which is this beautiful, very different to the outer docks, which are dirty and grubby and full of like drunken, sweat-smelling sailors. These are merchant vessels with very primly dressed merchants of men and women going about their business, ordering slaves to carry goods here and there. He points you over towards a manor house and it's just like, there.
Thanks.
And then he just heads off. He doesn't even answer the thanks. He just leaves. Ulrich, is he still carrying grief, or have you taken that?
Oh, he's carrying grief.
He's just
Is he struggling?
He's looking pretty tired. Like his arms still aren't quite used to such heavy work for after being diseased.
He needs the experience then.
Yeah, like he's just like he's not saying anything. He's carrying it, but he's like.
Okay. I might on the way lay on hands myself.
Okay.
So.
Touch yourself.
Basically, yeah.
I'm gonna give myself 20 points. I have 10 left.
Okay.
So that's 20 points of HP, right?
Yep. Boom.
She gave you 15.
She gave you 15, so you'd be at 35.
Excellent.
Speaking of, I'm not sure the character sheets have been updated with our current health because we went down one, didn't we?
You did go down one.
Just
It'll be a
assume
pain
it's
in the
one
butt
less
to
than what you
change
see.
it all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's why my sums are off.
Yeah.
It would be a pain in the butt to change it.
The manor house that you stand in front of is beautiful. 3 stories tall, beautiful kind of, you can see on the inside it has, very plush looking curtains, like thick red curtains on the inside. All of the windows are shut, like all the windows are heavily barred, big thick curtains, none of them are open. There are no guards on the outside, but there is a heavy locked gate.
Well, at the very least, if this goes south, we'll get paid well.
Yeah.
Looking at this place.
I mean, we're meant to protect him. If it goes south, we haven't protected him.
As in goes south in terms of it doesn't lead us anywhere.
Oh. Yeah.
It won't go south in that regard.
Well, I mean, I saw you fighting.
Yeah, true.
What did you say?
Huh?
Ulrich, my sword.
Here's my lord.
What did you say?
You did just weaken yourself before we have to guard. So yeah, well done.
And I
really good going.
also healed myself. I'm capable of both.
Yeah, you still don't look too good though. Maybe that's just your face.
Because I died
It's just your face.
and came back. Has its consequences. Anyway, I'm gonna go up to this gate and start bashing on the gate.
Okay, yeah, I mean, the gate is locked and you're just like shaking like these bars.
Hello?
Nothing happens for a while.
We're here to protect you.
Taryn, if we need to get in here, I can get us in here.
After some time, the door opens a slight jar and then shuts again, and then you hear like a bolt going. It opens. A very hairy-looking woman with long hair, like tied up in braids but loose, like let down, in a very plain white tunic, moves out, looks up at the door with Taryn and is terrified. Like puts a key, like opens it slightly, and she's just like, Master Marak has asked, are you here?
This is the problem. You're just letting any old person off the streets in through your gate.
You really should have checked if we were the people you were looking for before you opened the gate. See, lesson number 1 in protecting
I mean, we could kill you right now. Easy.
She just looks terrified at
It's
the
a
three
good
of you.
thing we're here from the Guild of Foreign Affairs, and we've contracted to
See, we have the
protect your
contract.
master. Here is the contract.
That's what I came out to ask for.
Good.
You shouldn't open the gate until you see it though.
Anyone could fake that.
That's why my master sent me, so if you were to kill him, you just kill me, and then the door is locked.
We'd still get him.
Oh.
Trust me, we wouldn't stop at you. If we were here to kill him, he'd be dead.
Just a small lesson.
Okay.
Looking out for you, really.
Carry on.
She just holds her hand out for the contract. Just looks terrified and just takes it with a shaking hand, turns around and makes her way to the door. Doesn't open the door, like pushes it underneath the door frame and then just stands back.
Ulrich, stand in front, would you?
Stands in front.
Good. Meat shield. Excellent.
Yeah, it's only a half shield. Like you're like half his double
I'm going to take a
size.
knee. No.
I guess for your groin.
He's wide, but yeah, he's only up to about like...
I'm going to stand like
bit of
5
a
feet
chest.
behind him.
Okay.
Just wait for an answer.
Okay. After a while, another note comes under the door. She picks it up, just carries it over to you and hands it out.
Ulrich, read it to me.
Ulrich is like, takes it. He's like, it's been a while since I've had to read my.
For
practice, is
goodness
it not?
sake, I'll take the note off of him.
He's like, no, my master.
No,
He like, looks at
it's
you.
fine.
Apparently it's fine.
And like bows his head.
What's the note say?
It basically reads, thank you for answering. It reads in very formal font. It's like it has like a header as well. From the desk of Autarch Doran Malak, Chief Advisor to the Guild of Foreign Affairs. And it basically then goes on to say, mercenaries, thank you for responding to my job offering. I will not need your services until 9 p.m. this evening. I will not be leaving my home until then. Please return at the appointed hour to escort me to a business event I must attend.
I'm clicking at the long-haired braided lady.
She looks at you, looks to the door. There's like a and then she heads over.
We wish to respond in kind. Do you have a quill? Ink?
She just offers the back part of the letter that you've been given.
Yes, and writing. Implement.
She heads over, she walks back over to the door, crouches down. One is slid under, like a quill is slid under the thing. And then the door is opened ajar and an ink pot is passed through. And then she comes over, holds them out.
Thank you. I'm going to write back with my gauntleted hand.
So it's terrible handwriting, doctor scratching.
Okay.
How much are you paying us?
Takes it back. She like holds her hand out for the ink pot and quill,
I got ink on my gauntlet.
but then puts it down on the
Ulrich, I'm gonna
ground. She
take the
like
gauntlet.
passes it to the other slave, which she sees as just she
Yeah.
passes it to that. She takes the note, she goes back over to the door, slides it underneath. You hear a like from behind the door, and then you basically a fresh piece of paper is given after a few minutes. She comes back and it just says 500 gold. We'll discuss more at 9 p.m.
Per mercenary. Thank you. See you at 9 p.m. And then, Ulrich, let's go.
He just like nods. He
Fair.
hands the ink pot and quill back to the slave woman.
I give him my ink-stained gauntlet.
He starts cleaning it instantly.
Excellent.
Just like takes it and is just using it like he has like almost like a handkerchief like tucked into his trousers that he's used for cleaning, and he just starts cleaning away all the ink.
Can you stop that?
Stop what?
Using slaves.
It's a waste.
It's not a waste. Giving him a good life.
Are you happy?
Yes, of course, my
He's
master.
happy.
He has to say that. You have to say that, don't you?
No, of course not, my lady. I am pleased to serve.
Listen, we could be doing much worse.
I mean, you know he's lying. Like, I mean, do you want to make an insight check, or do you just want to assume that he is?
I'm assuming.
Yeah. So
I healed
But
him.
I mean, you know that like he doesn't want to be a slave. He's a fucking he hates it. But at the same time, he's not. He doesn't have as much of an issue with Taryn as perhaps he knows others would give him shit. Like
was a
he'll
diseased slave.
happily carry like a sword and clean a gauntlet rather than being whipped and beaten to like make fucking hammers and swords and stuff like that.
Well,
Every time you use the slave, Malice just
like,
glares at you.
Okay, I'm used to it now. We have time. What's the time right now?
I mean, it was only about like midday, like 1, 2 p.m.
Lunch?
Lunch?
I suppose
Is there any other leads we could follow?
we could familiarise ourselves with the inner city a little bit.
Yes, that makes sense. Get Ulrich out and about a bit. Stretch his legs. You seem to struggle with grief.
No, of course not, my lord.
You can be honest.
If I'm honest, it was difficult. I have not exercised in some time.
He was ill. He had a disease.
What were you doing before I found you?
Dying.
I was mainly, when I was ill, I was being housed in a slave house for some time. Before that, I was being used in mines.
But then you're a strong dwarf.
I was until the disease, my lord.
Well, we need to get you back on your feet.
I will be back in.
Prime.
Yes, I will in short time. I need only a small time for rest.
Have you ever heard of any slaves ascending from that rank?
No.
It's not really a rank, is it?
Once
a
slave it will always be a slave. Ooh. Slaves that escape Fae.
Can you let that slide? What did you say? No. I didn't actually hear it.
Then Malice didn't hear it.
Yeah. Damn it! I didn't hear it.
Ulrich is just like, to the Thayans, a slave will always be a slave. Even if you escape Thay, they will treat you as such and will hunt you down to see you returned.
Well, you're my slave, and I'm a foreigner.
Sounds familiar to me, really. Once a slave.
Where I go, you go.
Yes, that is. Yes, of course.
Well, let's see where your fortune takes you. If you're a good, obedient.
He looks at you, and for the first time, his eyes kind of do glisten, and he's just, of course. And he just bows his head.
Whoa. Wait. Did I just sense hope?
No, of course not, my lord.
Good. Keep it that way.
Sense hope. No, stick with it. It's fine.
He just keeps his head down. You guys can go wander around the inner city. You can see that, there are...
We're going to get our bearings around this.
Yeah, the inner city is very busy. There are prime locations all around. The main things you notice is there are 5 major temples. The Temple of Tempest you've already seen. There is the Temple of Lovitar, which you pass, which almost looks like a big fancy house. It doesn't really look like a temple. It's almost like a big mansion with many rooms.
The one that we're supposed to go to.
Lovitar is, the guy is a worshipper there.
Can we check out that temple, just entrances, exits, just do sort of a little
so
scout.
very much like a mansion, there is a main entrance which leads in. It does have a large iron fence around it, but it seems open. It's kind of open to the public, like many temples are. But there is also a back entrance which leads into kitchens. Do you want to head inside, or are you just scoping out the outside?
I'm going to watch Malice from the outside and see what she does.
Okay.
So this is where we're going later?
Yeah.
You assume so.
Okay.
You don't know. All you know is that the guy said he had a business deal, and he is a worshipper of Lovitar. You don't know if the two are connected.
Worth scoping out nonetheless, just in case.
Yeah, I'm also tempted to check out the Last Goodbye, which was I think it was an inn on the inner city.
Oh, outer city.
Was it outer city?
Mm-hmm.
No, this is inner.
Yeah.
That was probably me making an error then. It is in the outer city.
Oh, I thought it was the Black Embrace and then the Last Goodbye was inner. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Is there any, taverns, bars, inns?
There is no taverns. There are places to get food and drink, of which many serve alcohol. They are more like rich cafes.
Yeah.
They are very well kept, very neat and tidy. Slaves serve food, but everything is very pristine. The food is very well presented.
Okay.
It's very rich. You are basically in sort of Kensington sort of area. Big tall townhouses, big temples, ornate buildings. There are no real bars or inns. There are a few basically not quite hotels, but when wealthy merchants stay, kind of like lodging houses. But they're almost like apartments that are for rent. And then they have their own slaves and things that cook and clean and provide food and stuff like that.
Okay.
Sorry, did you say you wanted to go inside the Temple of Lovitar, or are you just going to check out the outside and then pass on?
I think I'd like to just go in briefly to have a look and see how many people are around.
When you step inside, the double doors are opened for you. There is a pair of slaves that open the door and bow their heads and welcome you in.
Automatic doors.
Inside, it is a lavish lounge, basically. Large open room, chandeliers, heavy scent of perfume and oils, and you can see that there is a kind of counter. There is a shrine, and you can see upon it a woman, like a carved statue of a woman wielding a cat of 9 tails. wearing nothing, completely nude, just whipping like some sort of like crouched figure, this kind of statue. And looking around, pretty much everybody walking around, there aren't many slaves inside, apart from a few assistants who are carrying what appear to be like bandages or linens and things like that, but also like silver platters with like bladed instruments, and they seem to just be moving around this opulent house. You occasionally pass a Thayan, bald of head, back covered in scars with just like a loincloth, and he just walks past. He like bows his head as he carries on.
I don't bow to anybody.
You see a couple of men and women wearing kind of dark red leather outfits, and they all have either blades like daggers on their waists or whips. One of them actually kind of approaches you and is just like, "Good evening. Are you here for prayer? Is there something I can assist you with?"
Just having a look around the city, thank you.
Of course. You will only be permitted to see the main shrine here. The other rooms are only for worshippers, I'm afraid.
Is there anyone in the room who looks like they're not there to worship, they're just there to scout out, or like anyone just sitting around being observant?
I mean, there are people sitting around, but they are all kind of wearing like
so
either loincloths with, and you notice that like most of them have got deep scars on things like their arms. A few of them are wearing almost like neck braces with like things that like pierce, and you can see blood like running down their shoulders, and they're kind of sat there with drinks and food, but they're kind of in almost like a painful ecstasy, and they're just kind of sat there and they're kind of in prayer to Lovatar. You don't get the impression that anybody is here just to look around except you.
How many other rooms do you have
We have many rooms for worship. Here in the main temple, we have private chambers where worshippers may self-flagellate. Several of our pain lords also provide such services in service to Lovatar. Below, we have the slave reconditioning.
Reconditioning?
Of course. Many of slave owners bring
I'm sorry, I'm going to leave now. Goodbye. And I'm just going to walk out.
And they just pray. May the pain of the mistress be with you. She
Can I just say pain lords?
Yeah, pain lords.
Pain lords.
Lovatar, she's the mistress of pain.
I know. I've been, I've read up on it, but just pain lord is not a word I expected to hear today.
Pain lord. Pain lord.
I'm just outside.
Malice comes out, and she does not look happy.
Learn anything special?
Disgusting.
What?
Awful people.
Well, we always knew that Malice
I'm
was
so glad I have Malice here, because everybody else is far too chill with Faye. I'm so glad that Malice is like, this is horrible, like everything's horrible.
We always knew that Malik was into some weird stuff. It's what Talis told us about.
I will not be present while he's doing any of that shit. I will stand guard elsewhere.
Well, then you won't get paid.
You don't want to know. You'll probably see it later. I guess he's going to do that.
Sounds exciting.
They have slavery conditioning.
Oh, good.
Underneath the temple.
Ulrich looks very, kind of goes pallid.
Ulrich, what's that? Is that...
I have heard of the House of Lovatar. It is where they send slaves that do not obey their masters.
Oh, you best obey me then.
Like,
you are such a dick!
You have
never.
You have nothing to fear from me, my master.
Well, you should have a lot to fear from me if you ever step. I just mumble.
They
I
have,
think that.
They have multiple rooms, multiple private worship rooms, where you can torture yourself to your heart's content.
Why would you
Oh,
do
don't
that?
worry, there's also pain masters.
What a waste of time.
Lovely.
Like Lady Dana said, why hurt yourself when it's not for battle?
Well, either way, there's a lot of rooms in that place. I don't know where, or if he's booked one of these private rooms, but plenty of places for someone to hide.
Very well.
So plenty of spaces for ambush.
That too.
Anything else?
I kind of want to, and this can just be fleeting.
You've done a lot. I'm going to very quickly. Is there
Yeah.
anything you want to do, Tom?
Yeah.
Cool.
Because you've already had your little fight today. Shut up, Chris, demanding trot.
So I've...
And then I'll probably cut back to because Kim will join up with you guys soon.
Yeah. So I've, crawled into places and climbed buildings.
Yeah, you're a cat burglar.
Got into small places, things like that. Is there anywhere of this building that I would be able to find my way into?
Yes. The outside of the manor is very climbable, like the kind of the decor of like the stone, like the kind of crenulations and the gargoyles and things like that would make it quite easy to climb up. There are multiple windows, not all of them are barred, some are, but not all of them. You don't, and it's also if what Malice said. Did you say that there were it was underground that the slave stuff?
Yeah.
There's likely another entrance to get to the underground sections as well.
Okay.
It's probably very easy that somebody could get their way inside if they wanted to.
I would like to.
Yes.
On all of the like upper areas, like if they had to climb places, if they were trying to sneak in, I'd like to drop a few ball bearings in all of those spaces.
It's more that you wouldn't really, it's kind of imagine like you've got like a building, like you were climbing upside a mansion, sort of like a room. Where you would place the ball bearings, it's not like you can put them on like windowsills or things like that. It's like sheer kind of like walls, but with easy to climb footholds and stuff. Okay. And then they would probably break into windows and then get inside. Once you're inside the building, you're pretty sure you can remember all of the outside facing rooms. Okay. And then you could probably go in and prep stuff around those entry windows.
Okay, all right then. Yeah, that'll be fine. As long as I've spotted all those places.
Okay, cool. Okay. What is it you wanted to do?
I was going to see if there was a blacksmith that could hide some armor underneath Ulrich's robes.
So you want to get armor made for him? Okay. In the inner city, there are blacksmiths. Most of them appear to be almost, unlike the one where you saw outside, which had like kind of an open forge with slaves working on things. This is almost like a showroom. Like you step inside a store, like you would in the Sword Coast, like a weapons store, and there are rows on armor and weapons. And you can see a Thayan. He's got a bald of head, quite muscular. Looks like he might be well trained in martial terms himself. He's behind the counter. He sees you enter, and he's just like, welcome to my store, sir.
Hello. I have a dwarvish friend, very similar build to my slave here, and it's his birthday soon. I want armor, but discreet armor.
He looks at you. Of course, you wouldn't be thinking of arming.
Did I say that? I said I had a dwarvish friend.
A conveniently sized friend, from the sounds of things.
Well, yes, they're dwarvish.
I can create such armor, but...
I'll take my business elsewhere. If you don't want my coin, very well, let's go. I walk out.
He actually just lets you leave.
Okay.
He doesn't try and chase up on it.
Okay, fine.
He got a natural 20. He knew.
Yeah.
It was kind of a bit obvious as well, like, my friend, the same size as my friend here. Also, make it discreet.
What intelligence is he?
He's 10. But I mean, it's you just didn't think, like, it's kind of a thing. Malice, worthless. So, you are led outside by your new friend Valance, who leads you outside, and you make your way to... She leads you at first to a large townhouse, and kind of looks around, and she's just like, oh, looks like they may have already left here. Give me a moment, just wait here for a second.
While she's doing all that...
Yeah, so she's basically looks like she's about to head off, and she looks like she's about to cross over to a cafe.
You know her, like, little invisible friends who are touching my stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Can I do a thing to track them, to just kind of see? So I've got Hunter's Bane, which means you get advantage on survival checks to track Fey, Fiends and Undead, and then you get advantage on intelligence checks to recall information on them. Can I do that?
You can certainly make a survival check, yes, with advantage, as they are indeed fiends.
Oh.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
Okay. So, with that 19, there's a couple of things. You're almost certain that they're small, invisible creatures. You don't know what type, although I said that they are fiends. Worthless doesn't know that. Mm-hmm. But there are 3 small, invisible creatures that are following Valance, and they go where she goes. One of them, however, when she heads over to the cafe, only 2 of them go with her. You don't know where the 3rd one is.
Can I then make advantage on intelligence to recall information? But I guess...
With the same check, there's a couple of things it could be. There are fey creatures that can turn invisible, like fairies and sprites. There are, celestials. There's no real celestials that can do it. There are also imps and quasits. One is a devil and one is a demon. They can generally turn invisible, and they are kind of like little servants or little assistants for people that summon demons or things like that. And they generally can turn invisible. They can also transform into animals, and they generally have little magical tricks that they can do as well.
Can I track them?
You're aware that the problem is they're invisible, so you can't see them. Like I said, you know that 2 of them have gone with Valance.
But one is stood
One
around
is
me.
somewhere.
It's just hanging around. Cool. Another question.
Mm-hmm.
Would Worthless know anything about Assessor Serac?
No.
Serac.
Nope. 100% no. A Serac is not from the Forgotten Realms.
Okay.
So you guys would have no real knowledge of him.
Cool. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she returns after a brief moment from this little cafe, and she kind of like looks around for a moment. It's like, I know where they are. Follow me. And she leads you off. Whilst you were in the weapon store, the 2 of you rather, see Worthless approaching with a woman in robes. You don't see much apart from this golden hair spilling out over her shoulders. And she's kind of holding Worthless's hand and leading her over.
Would they recognise me though if I'm like...
you stand out. You've got the Grecian helm, spear and shield, Grecian style dress and armour. You very much stand out, but the 2 of you notice she looks clean. She's being led over by this woman.
I'm gonna walk towards wherever Taryn went.
Okay. So he's in the
walk
store.
away.
So
I think that's...
I'm walking out.
you
Annoyed.
basically bump into Taryn as he's coming out from the store.
There's no point.
Falshank.
I'm going to go over to Worthless because I think I'm the only person she didn't really piss off in the last 3 or 4 episodes. So I'm going to go over and just be like, how did you get in?
Hello, little dear.
Same again. I thought the cleaning would do it actually, but it's still a little weird.
Worthless has her ways. Meet my friend.
And your friend is?
Hello. And she nods her head, and you can see, because you're smaller, you can see into the hood quite clearly. You see a sun elf, gold eyes, gold auburn hair spilling out, very pale skin, and she just looks down and she's just like, my name is Valance. I saw your friend in distress and I thought I would help.
Interesting. See, we've seen a few people in Thay, and
what a melting pot.
that's one word for it. I like to call it a shithole, actually.
She smirks. She's like a little smirk across her face.
So why
You do have such a way with words, you little rock gnomes.
He's good
What
at I
gnome?
Spy.
Yeah, thanks. A little curious actually why you've picked Worthless. See, she's angered a few people in our party actually.
Well, this sweet old dear, and she just like pats her on the shoulder.
I'm just kind of like playing up to it, like,
You should understand that losing people can make people do some strange things. I'm sure that, well, she looks at Worthless, and then she looks at Tholbank, and she says, let's just say that I have a vetted interest in helping you and your friends. I will come and speak with you later, now that I've reunited you with Worthless. I have some things to attend to, but I'm a friend, one of a rare few in this city, one that you can trust, and also, she looks at Worthless. You should remember why you're here. Remember that there is something wrong with you, and you won't be able to find what you've lost if you die.
I'm just gonna kind of, at that kind of last bit, I'm just gonna be like head whip round, just...
And she kind of looks, I'll do what I can to help you once all this is over, but you need to be alive for that to occur.
An oath. Many have said they would help.
I offer it to you because I think you and my employer, as we discussed, would get on very, very well.
You must promise.
I will promise to help you.
Could I insight that entire conversation?
Yes.
Sit down!
Don't worry.
Never mind.
Oh, actually, 13.
13. There is something about this woman.
Is she trustworthy? Or at least does she seem to mean...
She seems to, when she promises help to Worthless, she seems to mean it.
Right.
You're not quite sure what she meant by the employer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's about the much you can get. You get the fact that she's being mysterious. She looks at you and just, she kind of turns away from Worthless now. Tell the others to be careful trusting the autarchs. The wizards are up to something. My employer and I are trying to find out what's going on.
And
But
your employer, who is this man?
when you say the word man, she can't help but involuntarily smirk a little bit. She just goes, has a vetted interest in matters of necromancy, and he wishes to ensure that certain powers don't fall into the hands of irresponsible wizards.
Well, if you want to say Matthias, just say Matthias.
Interesting. No. She seems a bit kind of thrown off by your guess, and it's just Let me just say this. Make friends with the autarchs. It will make uncovering what the wizards are up to easier.
And then I will assist us in that.
I will assist you where I can, but for now I need to go and take care of some other matters. I will come and find you once you have begun making friends in the city.
I see. Well, we're busy about 9ish, so maybe we'll make a date some other.
That's fine. I will come and find you. Don't worry. I'll know when you're free.
Fine.
And she kind of looks down, and she kind of leans over a little bit. She kind of eyes you. Can you make me a wisdom saving throw?
Oh, okay. Not really. Oh, actually, is it magical?
It is magical, so you
I have
advantage.
Nice.
Alright, well that's 9.
She kind of looks at you and her eyes swirl. And although she's pale, you realise that this woman is beautiful. She is gorgeous, and there is something about her which you just instantly trust. And this is a friend. You want to get to know this woman better as well. You really hope to see her again, and you want to kind of. She's got no reason to lie to you.
Okay.
You are basically.
pretty.
You are very, and yeah, you basically are. You see her as this amazing woman,
Right.
and she kind of blows you a little kiss, and then she starts heading off.
I'm gonna kind of watch her go and then just wave, bye bye little men, just waving where I think the invisible.
Yeah. You hear, just you, right beside you. You just hear and then she kind of looks back and she kind of nods at you with a kind of knowing sort of. And then she kind of claps her hands lightly, and then you hear something scuttle off away from you.
And do I get the sense that all three of them have?
This time you sense that all three have departed. So the two of you are leaving, and you can now see Worthless. You do see some sort of robed woman, heading off away from the two of them, but you can now see Tolshank and Worthless.
Our food arrived early, so I'm just going to take this.
Okay. We gotta get our food, because it's a long old day.
Carry on with that.
Oh no.
RP pressure. I'll be Taryn. I'm a big dick.
Everyone must suffer. I'm so cool.
That's fine. I'm gonna be really sarcastic because I'm Chris Trott. I can only be sarcastic in every character I play.
Still pretty good this time.
Huh?
I'm not doing super.
Yeah,
No, he's not dead yet.
He can't
Usual.
not be Chris Trott.
Well,
That's
yeah.
the best thing. I love it. Taryn is this big, scary badass. and he just can't turn it off.
I'm just amazed that we're however many episodes in and he's not dead.
He's almost died.
Almost died.
Welcome back.
But not dead. He hasn't shoved his head anywhere it doesn't belong.
Nice and quick, wasn't it?
Really?
Plug your microphone back in, just in case.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello. So,
Alice is gonna make no moves to walk over.
okay.
I'm gonna
Hand
head
this over
forward
to you for
in
now.
front of Worthless.
Okay.
So like sort of leave where she is and just say like to everyone else, listen, I don't know how she got back here, but she seems to have made a pretty powerful ally in the time that she's been gone.
Great. That can only spell disaster.
The robed woman who just walked away. Did we get any sense of what she
did we get a
looked like?
glimpse?
Like elf or
Gold
anything?
hair.
That-
Like
okay.
metallic gold hair.
Firstly, her name is Valance. Don't forget it.
Okay.
She has promised to help us, and she has a vested interest in our plight. And let me tell you, I trust her.
Why?
Why do I trust her, or
Why to all of these things? Why? Why is she back? Why is she clean? Who was that?
Why are you?
Why do you trust them?
I'm still sort of stood a little bit away. I'm kind of like sheepishly like, now that Valance is gone, I'm kind of like looking at, like trying to
You want your friend back.
Yeah, and
You're
I'm
like,
sort of like, scuffing my feet around and poking my spear into
You
the
should
ground.
hide your
like,
slave. She might stab it through the heart.
looking really
listen?
sort of...
I had doubts in her, just like you did. Maybe a little bit less at doubts. She's really good at I Spy, but I think she might have actually proven herself. She's gained an ally in the time that you got beaten in combat.
Gained. Are you trying to win me over here, Tolshank?
I'm just saying.
All I
maybe-
need is my money back for the slave you killed.
I'm still not near you. Don't look at me.
All I need is
Well,
She's,
you
like,
really
stood,
can't-
she stood behind Tolshank. Like she's a
Yeah,
few
I'm
steps
kinda
behind
sheepish.
Tolshank.
I'm still
I'm telling
sheepishly
that to
kinda like-
Tolfing. All I care about is the money that I lost.
All I care about is the money I lost. Because you lost that fight.
I didn't expect you to bet on me. That's not my fault.
I wouldn't have bet on him, to be quite honest.
Wow.
This is besides the point.
While they're doing that, I'm gonna get my little bag out, the one that I bought the toys in, and kind of just put it on the end of my spear, like the butt end,
like
and just sort of
holding it out
like
to Malice. Like basically past Tholshank comes this spear with a little
the
bag attached.
butt, not the spiky
Not the
bit.
point.
I think she's trying to attack you slowly. Very slowly. What is this trick?
Listen, she's clearly got something for you.
I can get the slave.
You take like a small little embroidered kind of not silk but like cloth bag. Inside, what was it? It was a manticore,
An ankeg, a manticore, and a direwolf.
little bone sculptures made from bone.
Sort of like a manticore's brain.
They're little toys.
They're little toys. No, they're little sculptures, like little mini
The half of the
figurines.
slave
I'm
she
just
killed.
looking.
I was
curious.
actually good. It's not a body part of a slave.
Might be covered in a few crumbs or something, but like,
It's like crumbs of rat on a stick.
Maybe they're cursed.
Ran on a stick.
Do you want Ulrich to lick them, just in case?
No.
Fine. Ulrich.
I think she's trying to treat me like a child again.
I'm kind of like sheepishly still sort of like scuffing my feet in the ground and just like...
It's like holding out like a little
looking really
stick.
Would a mother point a spear at their child?
It's the butt end!
But it's not
not
the
the
sharp
point.
end.
Stop trying to cause problems, man!
Listen, she's clearly trying to get back into our good books. I say we give her a chance again. It was one slave.
It was.
I was one slave.
It was just
Was?
a slave.
Yeah.
You're not now.
Neither's the other one that died.
Exactly. Freed.
Being stabbed through the heart isn't exactly freed.
Neither's
didn't
disease
know.
dying to death.
I'm just gonna very quietly say, I didn't know. Malice, please. Hear me out.
You knew I was a slave, though.
I didn't know you died.
That way.
I just want to explain.
Explain why you stabbed a slave through the heart right in front of me. Please.
People think I'm crazy. People think I don't understand. Worthless has had a life full of misery, full of pain, full of torture. I saw that girl, and I saw she could not get through this, even if she was healed. I thought I was doing her a mercy because there were points where I wished someone did the same for me.
You may feel that, but if someone had done the same to me and I hadn't been able to come back, then I wouldn't be here now.
You are strong. You are much stronger than that girl was.
We could have brought her back. We could have given her a better life.
She would have been traumatized. Have you ever heard a child cry from night terrors?
That was me.
But you don't anymore, because you are strong. Look at you, you survived. Worthless is sorry for what she did, and she would never do the same to you. She would never let anyone do the same to you. And Worthless will not do anything like it again. I did not know. While she's thinking about that, I'm going to turn to Ulrich, because I know that he was like really scared of me.
He has his head down.
I'm going to be like, little man.
Hey. Rude.
I mean, I saw that coming a mile away.
Little man.
Just has his head down. He kind of turns towards Taryn.
Know that you are worth more than 10 gold.
I wouldn't have paid more.
He looks at you, just bows his head, but he doesn't say anything.
You are a living being, and you are your own master.
Tell that to the Thayans.
He just looks at you, and you can see that there is a spark of agreement, but he doesn't show it in his face. Like, there is a kind of, like, in his eyes, you can see that he wants to say something, he wants to kind of agree with you, but conditioning won't let him. Like, he is his property now.
And regardless of that, I'm going to hold out a bag and be like, this is for you, for when you need it.
He looks at Taryn.
I'm going to snatch it.
I want to... No, I'm not letting you do
try
that.
and take it back?
Yeah, so...
Yeah, you can make dex, or you could make a dex. You make a dex, because it's like a quick grab.
10 plus.
Natural 20.
Yeah. So she just quick, but there is a lightning, a fluidity, like a lucidity. Like she sees you reaching, and there's no crazy grandma. There's like a away, like a warrior's reflex.
I will come to you in a second.
He is my slave. And we play the game while we're here in Thay.
1 second.
If anyone sees this...
Allow him.
Ulrich, take the gift for me.
He like reaches
I make
out.
that loud and clear.
Yeah, no, you can. There are people around. Like you can.
Yeah.
He is, of course, my master. He takes it, looks inside.
100 gold.
He looks at you with a bewilderment, but also a kind of awe, and then
You are
holds
worth
it.
more.
He very faintly nods, but then his body is just like he can't. He has to kind of. He's just like, "Do you wish me to carry this for you, my master?"
Let me see.
Yes.
Got
Yes, he
three
does. Don't you, Taryn?
Slots.
Mr. Knight.
It would cause an imbalance to my swinging. You can hold
Mr.
it.
Knight.
He
Yes.
ties it to his belt very tight.
You best hide that.
He doesn't really have anywhere to hide it. He's got a tunic and a belt.
Yes, worthless. How can I help you?
I'm just going to hold out another little bag.
Ulrich, take the bag.
Takes the bag. Looks inside.
This is for you.
Is it 10 gold?
However much you paid.
It was 10,
10, 20, yeah. And a bit of a rat.
A bit of a what?
A bit of a rat.
I'm going to throw that. Thank you.
Seeing Worthless give gold to the slave and try and correct her ways, Miles is going to step closer to her and just say, "You are not stupid and you are not crazy. You know that, and I know that. Let's just not do anything reckless again. And I'll just take her hand. And
So
Sorry,
how much am I worth?
I'm ignoring you.
I'll hold the gold.
I'm gonna kiss your hand. Right on the top.
Okay.
Toll, you're probably worth about 12 gold.
also, you smell
Right,
a lot
slide.
better now.
Pretty lady looked after me.
That pretty lady concerns me.
She's nice. She's so worthless for who she really is.
I believe her.
How did she get you into the inner city?
Underground, where the rats play.
This person knows a lot about you, by the sounds of things.
How did she know where we were to bring you to us?
I don't know, maybe her little invisible playthings.
I don't like someone who knows a lot about us.
And sorry, what is?
You did not see them?
You
Is
said
this-
invisible.
Is this the act, or is this genuine?
Next time she appears, look harder.
I don't want her to appear again. I don't know who she is.
She will come back.
Either way, we have a job at 9 p.m. You weren't here for that, but it was one of the leads from the Guild of Foreign Affairs. If we carry this out, we could gain some favor with the nobles and the Sarkioness.
Do not trust the autarchs, she says.
She said, "Do not trust the." No, it wasn't there.
She said don't trust anyone, really.
The
Well,
red wizards
easy.
are
Or
up
talks
to
to the nobles. You've learned that from William and stuff like that.
The red
All
wizards
nobles,
are
or-
up to something.
Autarch is basically the word noble, but in
So,
fake.
But
so
there's
if,
nobles, but red wizards, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
red
Yeah,
wizards
they're
are
separate.
different.
Yes.
Red wizards
So-
are above the nobles.
so-
Didn't she say?
Dolran
Then-
is an autarch.
Yes,
Then,
he's
so
an
the guy
autarch.
we're guarding is an autarch.
And she did say as well, don't trust the red wizards
Oh.
as well, but that got missed, I think.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't trust anyone.
Basically.
It does concern and interest me, in fact, about the sewage system. How many people were down there?
A few of those fishy folk, you know, your friends.
Good job you weren't there.
Doesn't matter. We can ignore that then.
Dead now.
What? You killed them? Oh.
Well, maybe we can use that.
Okay.
I'm just gonna kind of lean towards Taryn and just be like, I'm not as worthless as you think.
So, do you guys have any specific plans before you go back and perform this job?
No.
Okay.
Well,
No.
sorry,
Go on.
one thing.
Yes,
Could
yeah,
I
no.
just stock up on some caltrops?
That's kind of why. Stock up on.
Caltrops?
Yes, you can pretty much buy anything
Okay.
in the city.
Just
Can I buy a
The guy, you have to buy them from basically like a weapons merchant who assumes that you are like you're a guard and you're protecting some sort of warehouse. He kind of makes conversation as if like, good for keeping thieves out and stuff like that, you know, kind of sells it on that idea.
yeah, all thieves in. No, don't worry about it.
But yeah, how much do you want to buy? Like, I can't remember the exact pricings of stuff like caltrops, but
I've only got 53 gold left.
okay,
I think they're cheap.
they're pretty cheap.
Yeah, just
Just a bag of.
enough, really.
But
Yeah.
damn it, I'm going to be pedantic about this stuff,
Good.
as I want to be.
It's the legit.
Caltrops, bag of 20, 1 gold.
Got it.
But a bag of 20 is probably enough for like a 10-foot space.
I'll buy 3 bags.
Okay, 3 gold.
30 foot.
Oh,
space.
5 foot square, sorry. 5 foot square.
15 feet.
Okay.
Caltrops.
So if I use them sparingly, like based on the stuff that I saw in the temple, would I be able to, alongside the ball bearings, just cover a decent amount of space?
I'd say so, yeah. So any creature that enters the area must succeed a DC 15 dex save or stop moving and take 1 point of piercing damage.
Sweet.
Sounds really funny.
Until the creature regains at least 1 hit point, its walking speed is reduced by 10 feet.
Anyone in that place is gonna fucking love the pain.
Yeah.
I love caltrops.
Fucking love it!
So if I hear anyone just like, oh, then we know
So
something's going on.
you do that. Any very quick last minute things, because this is literally the last 5 minutes, and then we're going to cut the thing out.
No.
Okay, so we're going to end today's episode of Dead Reckoning there. The party is reunited. You have a job to do. And that is where we're going to finish it today. My book just fell over. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Dead Reckoning. Hope you enjoyed us being all in chat. We will see you next Wednesday here on twitch.tv/D&D for the next episode. Don't forget you can watch more D&D with us, the regular High Rollers crew, on Sundays at 5 PM BST over on twitch.tv/Yogscast. It's also available on the Yogs Live YouTube channel, all of our previous playlists and series.
Catch up.
Or follow us on Twitter at HighRollersDND, and we will always tweet when we're going live.
Exactly, and please do make sure you check out all of the other awesome D&D content here on twitch.tv/D&D. Check out the Wizards of the Coast Twitter and all that kind of good stuff as well. Were you going to add something?
On which note, future Kim, if you could tweet right now from the High Rollers account with the VOD for this episode, because they go like live straight away.
Yeah, they do.
Pretty
Do
much,
that.
yeah.
Thanks, future Kim.
Also, thank you, Becky, for running the music
Yes,
on this
thank
stream.
you,
It saves me a lot
Becky
of
is in
time.
on Saturday, and she's on a Saturday helping us all out, and it's very, very
champ,
helpful.
along with us.
We're going to go enjoy the lunch that Chris ordered
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
So we'll see you soon. Bye.
Goodbye.